Okay. Okay. So at this very point, where continuation of what we just did on tracking cost by project. So by the time you have reviewed that transaction, I've also saved. When you come over to the review transaction, you'll be able to see that very transactions. You can see all the transactions you have saved. They will appear under the review transaction. So if there was error, maybe error in amounts recorded, you can click on it and enter. Maybe it was not 300,000, but it was 250,000 that was spent, and you can do that and also be able to save changes for that to be adjusted. And that's the very essence why it's important that you should select that account by the time you're entering it, that transaction. By the time you're entering it as a new transaction, you select it and click on mark selected as reviewed before clicking on save changes, so it can always be reviewed for you to see. And another way you can edit, or maybe you want to delete, you can always do that. Now, if you remember, when we started the setup process, we set up the user-defined field. When I said that the user-defined field enables you to be able to create additional information which are not provided by Sage in the software. Now, you may be asking me, why are those information? We created two of them, like the job status and the date of commencement or date of end completion. Why is it not here? Now, if you look below, location, we said Abuja location. The project, we said it's a federal project. Whatever. The department, we said, we stated it. Yeah, whatever department, could be our operations / construction, whatever division we want to take care of that. See, if it was a purchase that was made of an equipment, we just select the purchasing department depending on what was done. Okay, so for the user-defined field, if you look below, if you want to add any comments pertaining to that, you can add the comments. It's going to help maybe during audits or during any kind of exercise taking place. They can always view comments to know that this is this. Maybe maybe payments. It was part payment, advance payment was made. You can say the payments made, the payment, or can add a comment, the client requested. Okay, that's the client requested that since stated that since we made part payments, that we should send the balance. That since we made part payment, that we should send the balance on time. Any comment you want to put, you can do that. Then if you look below here, we have user-defined field. So this is where you now click on it. So you can be able to enter those information you created. It could be projects like job status. We can say in progress. We can say this job is in progress. Okay, if it has completed, you always come back and do that. Date of commencement, we can say we commenced this job, this project today, and we have to complete it. Date completion, we say we have to complete it. Let's say we can say in December 1st, to complete that job. Then we say save. So this way we have just captured the user-defined field information that Sage did not give to us for this very task. But then we say what? We say save changes. Okay, then also lastly, we know that the endpoint of every accounting process or transaction is reporting. And for us to be able to gain more insight on information relating to this or the transaction, we have to go to our report, and we can say we want to view a particular report relating to these transactions, and we can say let's come over to where we have our reports, to be our management reports. Okay, we can come here, or it could be for our accounts report. We can also do that, but at this point we will be needing just the management report. So on the management report, we can say we want to view that of our POL. Okay, our POL, and you can see right here we have it on monthly, date range monthly. Now, if any dates you want, or if it's maybe you want to view it based on the date to date, you can use custom date. It will enable you to select, okay, from so date 15th to this. Okay, that's custom dates that you have to choose. But if it's monthly, this month, you can do monthly. If it is all throughout since existence, you can just put all and be able to see all transactions, all what have been captured. The report is going to be set for you. But now we are looking at monthly, okay, from 1st of September till date. So we can say we're looking at it based on our purchases, which is very good. Now, for location, if you are viewing your report for a specific location, you can just come and say, select that location, which we can say Abuja. Now, which project are we looking at? We said we're looking at our federal project, our federal construction project, okay? Department, we later changed that to our operations / construction. And you can see that over here. Now for the group by, we're looking at our analysis code. So that's what you're going to select, analysis code, more from grouping that very information. And then you can just leave this analysis code and you can say view report. And definitely provided all information you are trying to capture is correct, you're going to see that being displayed based on the location and the project category which you have stated. And you can see right here, we have it here, our analysis category. We have our Abuja Federal Construction. Now the purchases here is just standing for expenses. Okay, remember we are looking at revenue and expenses. You keep track of expenses. Now, if it was the revenue aspect, you'll be using sales as that very section where we had that very information being needed. Okay, so purchases is more like our outflow, what we spent. Okay, while the sales will stand for what actually our inflow as regards that project. So you can see right here we have it's here under the expense section. We have repairs and maintenance of 250,000. Okay, being captured for us to see. And so far there is no revenue being captured. And that's how you can always do that. You can always use the report options, show report options, so you can be able to specify, maybe you want to change to another location, you want to view for Lagos location, to know what and what, you can do that, and you say refresh, and it's going to update it for you, and you see. And so far now, we did not capture any for our Lagos location of our project, and you can see that there is none yet. Now, if, for example, you want to export this to Excel, it could be your boss or superior, or it's require that you should forward this very information through Excel to them. Now, it's very easy for you to do that. Okay. Now, what do you do? This is it for Abuja. And what you have to do is to look down. You'll see where we have export to Excel. You will see where we have export to PDF. If it's to PDF, you want to print it out in PDF format. If you want to print just this page, you can use this, but I would advise export it to PDF. If you want to export it to that of the CSV version, which has to do with more of the Google Sheet, blah, 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 you can also do that. And if you want to email this, okay, you can click on email, and definitely it's going to allow you to send this as an email, okay, to whoever you want to send it to. So, but the popular one is the Excel, okay. So if I click there, you can see Excel have just loaded. I believe you can see my screen. So you can see the Excel loading here, and it's telling us this could, unless you trust its source, I say, yes, open this file for me. I requested you open this file for me. So you can see right here, we have a kind of breakdown, and you can decide to customize this yourself. Okay, trying to click on the enable editing, so you'll be able to edit this worksheet. So you can see our report for the company based on this Abuja location for our project, and you can be able to go through this and also save, and do whatever you want to do, whether comparisons, calculation, and all that. All right, so that's just the very essence of that very aspect. And also, if you want to print, you can also click on our prints, which is also above here. This is a symbol for emailing of this report, where if you click on it, so it's going to allow you to send that as an email to those persons whom you want to send it to. And you know the process of emailing, you enter the recipient's email address. And if you want to attach any photograph relating to what was repaired, you can also do that through this attachment. You can browse for file, and it's going to link you up to your system, or to, if it's your phone you use, it's going to link you up, so you can be able to upload that very attachment, and then you email this report after putting your email address. And I always advise you to also put the company email address, so you also receive a copy of it. Okay, it's very important that you do that. And if it's printing, you want to print, you can cancel this section, so you can go back and click on the print, which is here we have the printer, okay, symbol here, and you're going to see this being displayed in this format. So this is also one of those methods they use, and you can be able to see this displayed properly for you. So that's just for that. So moving forward, once you're done with that, that very section is done. Now, basically what we want to look into today's agenda in this very class, the agenda is on handling transactions and how to do the recording aspect, because it's very important. We know accounting has to do is just the process of ensuring that transactions pertaining to a business is captured. And for a good accounting system like Sage, one of the ways you use to assess a good accounting system is in its ability to be able to capture financial data, completely and without error. And let's see how we'll be able to do this. So in this very section, we'll be working with this problem. We're working with this problem which we have here. So let me just state out the question quickly. So you can see from here, I believe you can see the question, sir. So you can see right here, we have, hello, sir, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So
I can hear you.
Can you see the question? So we are told that.
I can see it.
Oh, okay, sir. We are told that on the 1st of June, okay, of this company. So what is going to happen is this. We will be changing the June to, let's say we are changing it to September since we are in September. Okay.
Yeah.
So on the 1st of September, we started business with how much? $12,000 in cash. Okay, so we are going to do the conversion. We'll be using a rate of 710. We'll be using 710 or 712 as our conversion rate. So let's say June 1st, September 1st, we started business with this, okay, in cash. And let's also say in September 2nd, we paid this of the opening cash into our bank account for the business. And let's say on 5th, we bought office furniture on credit from this vendor for this 1.9 and dollars. On the 8th, we bought a van paying by check. On 12th, we also bought an equipment from Mutep and Sons.
How to use all these things in Naira?
Yeah, we are going to use it in Naira, sir. Yes, sir. All right.
Hello?
Yeah, we are going to use it in Naira.
Okay.
Okay, sir. So let's go straight to the main thing to do. So first of all, we have to leave here. So each time you want to leave, first of all, click on your home. So you can be able to view, and you see on our bank balance, we are told we have 250,000. So let's fall back to June. Let's use June as stated, okay? Because if this is our closing balance here, so let's just fall back to June. Let's use June as stated in the question. So first of all, hello, sir, I believe you can hear me. First of all,
I'm with you.
Okay, sir. First of all, it's good to mention that accounting transactions are very important elements of any business activity. And you cannot be working with an accounting software without knowing how to do your postings, or call it postings. So accounting, there are various standards which are very useful, when you're trying to record, which recording has to do with the bookkeeping aspect. When you're trying to record accounting transactions, there are standards, and it also applies here, or principles, which also applies here. And it's good that as far as you are trying to acknowledge those monetary exchanges that takes place, we need to also put into consideration those foundation, okay? And what I mean by those foundation, I'm just talking about the foundation of accounting entries and transactions, which we know that it is the journal entry and the ledger. So at this juncture, if you want to do your postings, you're going to go straight up to that foundation of accounting entries, and the accounting application provides that very foundation. Now, what's the foundation? Like I said, the foundation of accounting entries and transactions is the journal entry. Okay, so how do we get that in Sage? Now you come to the accountant's area, okay, because at this point it means you are an accountant, and that's major reason why it's part of your duty to ensure that those data is captured. So you come to the accountant's area and you see where we have process journal entries. So this is where process those journal entries pertaining to business organization, if it's a governmental organization, whatever kind of organization, you do it here. Now, it's good to mention that before ever you start this, it's expected that you first of all set up the chart of accounts, which oftentimes I always say that the chart of account is just a list of organized accounts, which is expected that you as an accountant, you as a user, relating when your tax involve this very line, is expected that you have set up those very accounts before even proceeding with trying to record transactions. So how do we know if we have set up necessary accounts? We have to come to our list of accounts to view. Now, by default, when you create your company file in Sage 50, in Sage Cloud, by default, Sage creates some accounts for you based on the information you've entered at that very first initial stage when you're trying to establish your business information. So you can see some accounts here automatically created because it believes that for your firm, it's expected that some accounts like this should be taken care of. For that of the construction company and construction income, we created this, and it's very important that we look into perfectly. Okay, so that was very important. So aside this, you can add your own accounts by clicking on the add an account, and Sage provides a good dashboard and a good system for you to be able to create new accounts for that very organization. And you can enter the account name and also the account category. And time to time, I always explain the need for this, that definitely we know that there are different elements that are important here based on the account category type. And each account you create must fall under one of these categories. And you must ensure that you recognize that, because it's very important that you recognize that in as much as you're putting your accounting functions like income recognition, that of your payments, your budgeting, your bank reconciliation, and others. Since you're taking them into consideration as part of your tax, you must ensure that whatever accounts you create falls and lines on that very aspect, so you get what to do. So that's just part of the processes involved. So it starts with you creating all your accounts. Okay, now moving forward, as part of what I'm trying to make us understand is that the double entry method of bookkeeping for accounting transactions is welcomed here in a cloud-based accounting system. Okay, and the reason is because it's very important. It's a very important principle in accounting. Okay, and where we know that there must be more of a corresponding credit entry that balances the accounting transaction for a debit entry, and thus makes the double entry bookkeeping very relevant. So the accounting equation here should always be kept in mind when you're trying to do your postings. This method should always be in your mind, because you can't work with the journal without looking into that, since at the end of the period you have to view that of your trial balance to ensure that those informations are also captured. So always take note of that so you can see how that goes. So moving forward, let's get straight to business. So we have to look into the very first question we have there. Okay, we are told that on June 1st, Excel started business with how much? 12,000 US dollars in cash. So how do we post that? Now, before you start posting, like I said, the first step is to go to your accountant area. You go to process journal entries. So I'm going to click on process journal entries.
Okay.
Journal entries. Good. Now, a good one. Now, before you start processing journal entries in an accounting software, which we are using Sage 50 Cloud here in this case, there are basically five and things I always share with students. We call it secrets, or 5 guidelines, 5 things to guide you. Now, the first one is this. You have to ensure that you always remember them. Now, the first step, okay, I can say 5 steps. Now, the first step is to identify the accounts that are involved, okay, in that transaction. Always identify the accounts that are involved in that very transaction. So what do we mean by this? The first thing now is to go to that question, okay, that transaction. We are told that on June 1st started what? Business with $12,000 in cash. Now let's identify from step 1. Let's identify the account that are involved. We can say started business with 12,000 US dollars in cash. Now you can see that 2 accounts, okay, where we have the cash accounts and the capital accounts. So what do we do at this point? We have to go back to the equation, to the application, and we have opened our journal, and here we are on our journal. Now in Sage provides this section for you. So this is where you're going to enter those transactions. Now we have from the date, we are told on the 1st of June. So I'm going to click on the calendar feature here, and I'm going to move this to June. And here we go. We have our 1st of June. Okay. Now, Sage provides 2 information here. We have the effect, we have the affect. Now, the effect stands for debit, and the affect stands for what? Credit. So I told you the first step is to identify the accounts involved. And when we talked about the double entry, we said there must be 2 accounts where you do what? You debit the receiver, and you do what? You credit the giver. Now we are looking at cash and capital, which was used as of 1st of June. So what do we do at this point? We say effect is debit. Good. Now the accounts. Okay. Now we're going to select the accounts we are to debit. I will say we are debiting cash accounts. So we're going to check, is cash account already created? Are we created cash account? We say yes. as a current asset. I will say we have our cash account. If there's a reference number, you can state that, most especially if you're trying to capture this or migrate this information from your bank statement. Now for description, you can put that, you can say capital, okay, capital, or whatever you want to use, money invested into the business, blah, blah, blah. You can enter that. Now we are told that it's $12,000. Okay, I told that it's $12,000. So when we say we are working with a conversion, we are working with a conversion of 712. So I'm going to multiply that 12,000 to 712. I say 12,000 times 712 conversion rate, and it gave me 85. Okay, it gave me 8544 thousand. Okay, 8544,000. I'm sure I'm correct. So affecting accounts, there must be a corresponding, was there an account there? So we said it's the capital account we have to credit. So now we check, is that account there? We look, we say yes, we have created that account, and you can see it is there. Now, for those of you watching, if you're confused, maybe you have question like, what if the account is not there? Is it that we now leave here and now go and create the account for us? No. Sage provides an easy pattern of creating your account in just seconds. Okay, now what do I mean by easy pattern of you being able to create your account in just seconds? Now what I mean by that is that right here on this same screen, you can just, maybe you checked for a particular account like cash account and you notice that it's not there. You can just click on that same option, okay, and scroll to the top. You'll see where we have add new. You click on add new, and the screen pops up for you. Instead of you going and closing this section and going to accounts and module and doing all that, right here, the screen pops up for you. You can put the name of it, you select the category of the account, you put the description, and you just say save, and that account will be entered there. Okay, so it's as easy as that. As we proceed, you'll see how that goes. Okay, so this way, this transaction have been posted. So question 1 is done. But one more thing, remember the steps I was sharing with you. Okay, so like I said, the first step is to identify the account involved, which we identify this, that from this problem, the account is what, the involved is what, our cash account and that of our capital account. Now, what is the second step? The second step was to identify the account that is receiving and therefore is to be debited. And we did that we had to debit cash and credit capital. Now, what is the third step? The third step was for us to be able to, to identify the account which is given and therefore is to be what? Credited, which we said that account was the capital account. And we'll see the fourth step as we proceed. Now, what is the fourth step? After capturing all, the first step is to save this. And the best way to save is to first of all select that very transaction, which is this transaction. We have selected it. We have selected this transaction. Select it. Okay. Now, after selecting this transaction, you then click on mark selected as reviewed. But now the transaction have not been selected. So I'm going to click to select this transaction. I selected it, and I'm then going to say mark selected as reviewed. Now, before I mark selected as reviewed, before I save, you can see when I selected it, these options became active. Now, one important option here, I'm going to explain this. Okay, you can mark as reviewed through here. You can delete if you want to delete. If it's a batch posting method you're following, for those of you who don't understand what we mean by batch posting, it means you have not been following our training and our classes, so do well to follow. Okay, but at this point we are working with that of the the real-time kind of posting method. Okay, so that's just for that. So moving forward concerning that, you can see the next option is schedule recurring journal. Now, when you're trying to journalize, there are some kind of transactions that falls under this recurring journal aspect. For example, it could be your payroll. So it's expected that you schedule those kind of entries as a recurring journal, since you know that on monthly basis they reoccur. So you don't come to be, doing a kind of giving yourself a repetitive tax. Okay. Then also we have another option here, which is the import journals. So you can also import your journals or export. Maybe you want to export this, you can export, or you want to import from other places to here, you also be able to do that. So once you have done this, step 4 is to mark, is to select. Okay, remember step 4. Step 4 is to select, click, it was unticked before, so I selected, then I scroll, and step 4 says mark selected. What you've selected, mark it as reviewed. When you have marked it as reviewed, you can then say save. Okay, and it's going to be saved for you. Okay, now the reason why you mark it as reviewed is because as you mark it as reviewed, it will appear under what we call review journals. So from time to time, if you want to edit your journal, when you open your process journal section, you can always be able to come to review journal and be able to view that very journal. Now, let's say we want to view it. You can see if we click on our view journal, we'll be able to change the dates, okay, the display date. So you come to display from which date? We say display our journal from that of our the period that we have to the date. So we can say we are looking at 1st of June. We'll go to 1st of June. Say 1st of June till 30th of September, which is the month we are, and we say refresh. Okay, you always say refresh, you're not spotting. So when you do that, you can see the transaction we have is that of for our journal entry, which I've captured, is our capital 8,544,000 and 8,554 million that was captured. So at this point, you can print this out, or you can export this, or you can just say save, and you proceed with what have been done. So ladies and gentlemen, this is just how to take care of that, which is our step 4. Then step 5 is for you to come and view the report relating to that very transaction. Can come to your accounts. Step 5 is to come to your accounts to be sure that yes, those accounts have been updated. So you can come to your accounts and you go straight to list of accounts. Now remember, it was involving cash and that of our capital. So you can come to the sidebar and say, let me see my cash account. So you can see our cash account is having that balance of 8,544 million. Okay, and same way, if you say, let me see my capital account for this business, and you get to also see the 8,554,000 balance. And if, for example, you want to edit this balance, maybe it's not correct, you notice it's not correct, Sage allows you to do that. Now, how do you do that? You have to come to where we have our actions by the side. You click on actions and you click on edit. Okay, when you click on edit, you're going to be able to edit that very transaction. So if I click on edit, I'll be able to edit this very transaction. As Sage will take it back to that very screen where I'll be able to, get to edit that very transaction. And if I say, let me scroll down, you can see right here, you can see for that very account, we have the activity section, which I always explain. The activity section makes it easier for you to see the transactions, how they got to be, more like the history. Okay, you can see, and then you can decide to click on detail, and it's also going to take you to a more deeper section where you get to see the date that actual money was posted. Okay, and you can see that. So ladies and gentlemen, this is just how to look into that. So most times your system may appear this way. When it appears this way, know that you're having internet challenge. So you have to reload. You have to reload so you get it clear. So okay, so this was what I was trying to talk about. When we clicked on the edit, so can be able to edit this information, and the activity will always show you. The activity section will always show you that section. If you have any description, you can put. If you have any information you want to add relating to this, you can always put that here under the note section. You select, okay, this is the dates. You put the action dates, that note is to be maybe a corrective action, whatever involving the subject, you type the notes. And if you want to add more comments, you also click on the green option if you want to remove, so you can be able to add more information concerning that tax or that what you're working on. So ladies and gentlemen, that's just how that works. And you can also view reports for your accounts listing reports or account transactions report. Let's want to see our account transactions report, be able to view that report, for those accounts. If it's for a particular account you want to view, you can choose the accounts. We can say want to view just for our capital or our cash accounts. Okay, you can view it and you say view reports. Okay, and it's going to pop up that very report for you to see pertaining to that very account. So that one is very important because we know that the endpoint of an accounting process is reporting. So at every time it's expected, because most times a lot of participants ask me, sir, what's the difference between an accounting software and what's the difference between it with Excel? So most times I try to tell them that this is the difference. This is the difference, and very important that they take note of it, because an accounting software, is designed based on two portions, which is data entry and reporting, unlike Excel, where you have to be the one taking care of that very section again. So this is just how to go about that. So sir, can you hear me? Can you hear me, sir? Hello? I believe you can hear me. Okay, good. So
I'm with you. Yes.
okay, sir. So we're having a little interruptions from the internet. Okay, so from this
Yes.
angle, you can click on, and when you have clicked here, where we have the list of accounts. Okay, list of accounts. Okay, there are many ways to view reports. You can still see where we have quick reports. So you can click there and say, I want to view accounts, transactions, cash movement reports, whatever report. Or you can come to the accounts module itself and you scroll down to reports. Then you click on accounts, transactions, reports. Okay, so let's do it again since network was disturbing us. So we say accounts, we select the accounts. We say want to view for all our transactions relating to cash. Then you say view report. Then you'll be able to view that very report for us to see. I think I'm having a kind of a little disturbance on the internet here, but this is just majorly how to go about the reporting aspects. It's a concise reporting in this very section, and you'll be able to get to see those very reports. That's okay. So in order not to waste much of the time, let's go back. Let's go back. So also if you notice, when I was recording that very under the journal entries, when I was trying to record that very transaction, you notice that you can also, if I go to review my journals and I say
network was bad then, I didn't really get it that time.
Okay, sir. Now going back to the months, we said it was our June 1st to the date. Okay, and we went to review the journals. So this is the journal that we have. Now, if we are to edit this, let's say this entry was for a particular location, our company in a particular location, you can channel this, you can record this and channel it to that very location. Okay, from the journal entry section. Anytime you're capturing or recording transactions, you can always channel it to the related department or the related location. How do you do that? Instead of before clicking on reviewed and saving, before selecting, clicking on reviewed and saving, you can just select this V option. Then this location, project, department will always pop up. If it's for a location, you click on the location and you do what? You save. Okay.
Hello.
Yeah. So let's take the second question. The second question is going to explain things further to us. We're having network challenge then, so you can be able to follow up that way. Okay. So the second question says that's what. Second question says that paid $11,700 of the opening cash into the bank account for the business. Okay. Now that means the business has a bank account. Okay, and we are told that out of the $12,000 that we paid, 11,700 out of it. So now we're going to calculate and we're going to convert 11,700 also to our 712 rate. So I can say 11,700 multiplied by what? Multiplied by that of our 712 rate. And what we have is 8,330,400. 8,330,400. So now at this point, what do we do at this point? Now we are also going back there. Remember the steps. First of all, identify the accounts that are involved. Okay. Now, what are the accounts involved here? What are the accounts involved here? We can say bank. Okay. Since it went to our bank account, we can say bank is involved and our cash is involved. So these are the two accounts. So now how are we going to do the posting? We are going to debit an account and also credit an account, the giving and the receiving account. So we can conclude that here we are going to debit our bank accounts and credit our cash account because our bank account is receiving while our cash account is giving out this amount of money. So how do we post this quickly? So I don't expect any of you undergoing this class to have issues with posting. Okay, so how do you do that? You have to come over same way, go and check your bank accounts that you've added first. So go to our list of banks. We add, if you have not added, you add. If you have added, you check. Now you can see we have 250,000 balance. So take note of what we should be expecting from that account. So once we have done check that, then you go and post that transaction. You come to process journal entries. You know, when you click on process journal entries, you scroll down, you enter that transaction. So we say the date was when? We said it was on the 2nd of June. Okay, or let's say it was on the 1st of September. Let's bring it down. So now accounts, we said we are debiting our bank account. Now, each time you're doing any transactions, relating to bank, okay, you're not going to come through the journal entry process dashboard. Instead, you go straight to your banking model and record that transaction. Because if you say you want to check for bank, you can see the bank account is not stated here. So what you're going to do is to leave here and go to the banking model. So you come to the banking model, then scroll down and come to transactions and click on what? Banking. So when you click on banking, you say, okay, from the option that comes up, you then record this. Because now what you do when the banking dashboard opens, you come under here where we have bank, you select the bank, you say Excel Nigeria Limited, and we are told that that amount of money, which is 8,330,400, which was converted, was sent to our bank here. Okay, so what do you do at this point? You have to come here, you put the date. Okay, you can put the payee, you can leave that, put the description, you say accounts, yes, an account. And remember the two accounts involved, we say cash. So you come here and say cash. Okay, you say cash accounts, which is this. And you say, at this point, we are not spending the bank receipt. So you put that amount of money bank receipt, which you say is 8,330 and 400. Okay, now you do that, you select it first. After selecting, you mark as reviewed. Then you do what is save changes. So if you've reviewed this particular transaction, you can see it there, 8,330,400 have been recorded, and our bank have also updated the previous closing balance. So if you say you want to go and view your list of accounts to be sure that these have been captured, if you go to list of accounts and you say, please, Sage, I want you to bring up cash for me, you can see cash will reduce. Okay, there's a decrease in our cash because of that. We now have 213,600. So ladies and gentlemen, this is just basically how to do your postings, okay, or enter